In this training, we're going to be looking at using the Google Plus Events tool to schedule our Hangout appointments, our private appointments using Hangouts done with the Events tool. So let's take a look at what this has to offer. So down here, we are on the Google Plus platform. We are in the area called Events, and this is the screen that you will see. On the upper right corner, we'll see a big red button that says Create Event. So let's click on that, and that opens up this window, which gives us a bunch of options for setting up our appointment or our event. We can choose and change the theme, we can add a title, we can change the date, the location, etc. What we're also going to need to do is eventually choose where it says Event Options, dig into where it says Advanced, and go to where it says Google Plus Hangout. Now, that to me is a little bit complex for what we're needing to do, so let's go ahead and cancel this and look at it a different or maybe more efficient way. This right here says Schedule Hangouts, plan your next Hangout. Since all of our events are going to be Hangout events, let's just start this way. So we'll click where it says Plan your next Hangout. A similar window comes up, but it is automatically chosen to be a Hangout type event, which is what's important to us. So let's start typing in our title here. And there we go, our first Hangout meeting referencing LawyerCams.com. Let's look at the next field down here. It is the date field. I'm going to leave it with today's date. And the time is 7 p.m. That's fine for me for what I'm doing for right now. And we're going to choose an ending time. Right now it's just an open-ended meeting. Let's give it a closing time. Defaults to 2 hours. Let's make it a half hour. So 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. We'll leave this next field as a Google Hangout. Then it says details. This is where I would encourage you to give instructions to your client, giving them an idea of what is expected of them for this particular meeting. So instead of just typing that in every single time, I happen to have right here a document that has some text that I will use on a regular basis. So I've copied that. I'm going to copy it, and let's put that aside. We're going to paste it right in here. We might want to make some minor adjustments to make it more personal to that particular client, but this is something I strongly encourage you to do, is get some of your text ready, since you'll be doing this on a regular basis. Let me interrupt here to point out that in order to make this one-on-one private Hangout appointment work, your client will need to have a Gmail account at a minimum, and it would be even better if they had a Google Plus account, but that's not required. So feel free to refer your clients to the Google account setup video that we've already made for you to utilize in order to help them set things up properly so that they're ready to join into these Hangout meetings. Now, back to the training, where we continue on by using the address area inside the Events tool in order to help schedule your appointment. Then, down on the very bottom field, we have the ability to choose who we want to invite to this event or this appointment. So I'm going to put in one party's name. This one I use as an example, making Google Plus work. And this is pretty much it. Those are the basics for setting up your event. Now we're going to take a look at a little bit more of the fancy stuff or the more advanced features of this particular tool to make your event or appointment meetings stand out amongst others. So what I'd start with right up here on the top is where it says change theme. I don't like this basic gray one. In fact, I like to do branded images. So I'm going to click change theme. And there's a bunch that are already built in here. They're going to vary depending on the particular season. This happens to be right around the Christmas season, so as a result we see these nice Christmassy kind of images, or skiing or party celebration images. What we're going to do is look down here on the left bottom side. It says upload. I'm going to click on that because I've already prepared some theme graphics that I would encourage you to make or have us make for you. And let's take a quick look at one. Select photo from your computer. Here's the image that I want to use. It looks nice and lawyer-like, so I'm going to click open, and there it is. It loads up the image, replacing it, giving us a much more branded experience. The next set of options that we're going to take a look at are here under where it says Event Options. So we'll use that drop down, and here's where it comes to privacy. We know that for lawyers, being secure and private is a very important item with these Hangouts. So we do not want necessarily to let or allow the client to add other people to the appointment. So what I'm suggesting, because the client is being invited by you, they are considered a guest, that we turn off the ability for guests to invite additional people. That way you know it's just one-on-one, and if it's necessary, you can invite additional people. You always have that authority as the originator of this particular event or appointment. So I'm going to turn that off. We could show some additional things, but that's probably good enough for now. So here's what we've done. We've got things set up just the way we want. Now we're ready to click invite, which actually creates this appointment. So let's go ahead and do it and see what we get. All right, there it is. It just opened up the big screen. We see our image large on the top. This is inside the appointment, or what's called the event. We have the ability to do some things along the very top, which we're not going to do. You'll note here it's a private event and it is locked. And the reason why it says it's locked is because no one else except you, the originator, can invite anyone else. So it is a locked private appointment or event. Note on the left side it says that it is a Google Hangout. And so when the time comes, there will be a video component to this particular meeting. We have the instructional information right here that's telling them or encouraging them to do certain things when they come to the meeting. We'll also note on the right side we have the guest list. Right now there is one party going, me, the person that created the event, and then there is another party that has not responded yet. So this is what happens when you first create the event. Now let's go pretend we are the other party just so you can see the entire process of what happens here. So I'm going to go to a different tab that I have open here. This is the invited party. I'm going to go to their home stream, and you'll note here, we'll scroll to it, there it is. Here is the event. Now when I mouse over it, you'll see that the instructional information drops down. It says, sent from the person, in this case me, Ronnie Bincer, you're invited to an event. Title is right here, our first Hangout meeting. It shows them that it's a Hangout type event, and it asks them, are you going? Yes, maybe, or no. So we would hope that they are wanting to go, so they're going to click yes, and that changes those three options to be one. They can always come back here, change their mind, and say maybe or no if there's a reason that they need to cancel. But for now, it simply says yes, they're going. So now let's hop on back over to the place where we created the event and see what it is. Now, look at our list on the right. It says going, 2 parties. So this allows us to see that yes, they have responded, and yes, they are basically committed to go and attend this particular event. So now, let's go back over to the other side, the client side, and see what it would look like if they were to actually click to view the event. You can either click where it says view event or click on the title. Either way will get them in. Let's just click and see where they go. So now they have a very similar view, but it is slightly different. They do not have the ability to edit this event like you do because you're the creator of the event. But they can see who's going, unless we were to hide that. And I also want to point out that because we made this a locked event, they are not allowed to add other people to the meeting, and I want to show you what it looks like when they try. So in case they were going to type the text and say, I want to bring someone else in, that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to type in the normal way that someone can invite someone else is either using the invite button, which is not visible here because it's been turned off, or doing what's called the plus mention, where you type a plus and then the name of the other party. So here we go. I have another business called Video Leads Online. So I'm going to select that. I'm saying I'm going to also invite, and here, watch what happens. It doesn't let us. There's our warning. The person is not allowed, that person is not allowed to be mentioned and added to this post. The reason why is we wanted to keep it private. We did not want to allow other people to be invited in. And just as a reminder, let me cancel that for a moment. Just as a reminder, if we're back with our authority, we have the ability to invite more people. So if I wanted to, in fact, let me just show you how you do it. Say the client says, I really need to have this other person, and you agree, it's okay. We click invite more. You choose your guest list, or you just type it in. find their name in the list, pop it in here, and then click invite. It tells us up top right here, invitation sent. And you'll note here in just a moment, there it is. It now added them to the guest list, and it says that they are currently in the status of not responding yet. All right, so now what's next? Let's take a look at what this did with our Google Calendar, because this automatically adds the appointment to my calendar and the client's calendar. So let's slide on over to the calendar view. And in this case, I'm going to actually hit refresh to make sure that it shows up. And there it is, 7 o'clock. If I were to click on this, watch what happens. We're inside Google Calendar. It brings up our nice branded graphic, as you could see there. And here are some of the details that the instructional copy. It says who's going, and it also allows us to view it right on Google Plus or change whether we are attending or not. So all those options are available for us as well as our client on their calendar, which I think is a rather nice feature of this particular tool. So let's go back to Google Plus, where we're inside here, and look at some of the other options as the owner or originator of the event that we are allowed to do. So if you'll note up here, I'm moving my mouse to the upper right corner where it says Actions. Choose a drop down. We have the ability to edit this event, which we'll do in a moment, duplicate it just in case we're going to have a similar type of appointment with someone else. We can duplicate all this stuff and just change who we're inviting, which is a very handy feature. Delete the event if for some reason we needed to clear it from our calendar. Let's go back here to edit the event. The reason why I want to show you the editing of the event is I want you to see that there are certain things that when you change them will alert the other party, and that is the date or the time. If you change the date, the time, or the location, which we're not even using here, it will automatically send an alert out to your client. And if you decided that under the event options, you did allow them or want to allow them to invite guests, you can turn that on. I'm going to leave it off for right now. In fact, I'm going to cancel this and show you one more view of what all of this stuff looks like. Because by the time you're ready to attend this meeting, you're probably not going to be inside this event from the beginning. You're probably going to be out in Google+. And then we will want to look at what's called the events page. So let's click on that on the left side. It just updated. Now it shows what it looks like on the events page. I would encourage your client to also look on the events page when it's coming time for the meeting. So what we see here is it gives us the details, meaning the title, the date, the type of event, and who's going, and whether we are going or not. And all this stuff is listed for us. And by the way, if you wanted to get into the Hangout event before the time just to get ready, you could do that and join at any time. So could your client. They can come early if they want. What I'd like to do is modify or edit the event so that you can see what it looks like at the time of the appointment. Because this is now 7 o'clock, I'm recording this a little bit earlier. I'm going to go in and edit the event. So let's just click on it. And I'm going to choose the actions drop down to where it says edit event. I, being the owner, am allowed to do this, not the client. And I'm going to change the time, and I'm going to change this to be 5 p.m. ending at 5:30 p.m. And that's all I'm going to change. It's going to update the party on the other party, the clients. Let's click save. And I want you to notice also what it looks like. See, it says you changed the event time. All guests were emailed. All right. So down here on the left, now it says join Hangout. In fact, it automatically switches to a different look because now we can just simply click on join Hangout button and we're right inside the Hangout, which by now you're a little more familiar with. Let's click on the events page and see what it looks like there. Note all the other stuff is gone and the main big blue button is there ready for you to join the Hangout. So that is how you set up your appointments and you keep them nice and private between you and your client, and you've automatically got set to start your Hangout appointment inside the Google Plus Events tool.